Hey Worcester, my name is Jacqueline Burmeister and I'm the coordinator of the Worcester Lakes and Ponds program. And today I am thrilled to share with you the results of our 2020 water quality monitoring program at Bell Pond. If you enjoy this video, please be sure to check out the other videos in the 2020 State of the Lake series, which can be found at the worcesterma.gov website. Bell Pond is a small pond in the Bell Hill neighborhood. It's located south of Green Hill Park off of Route 9. This is a very densely populated neighborhood, and between the public beach, walking trails, and fishing pier, Bell Pond is usually well used by the public. The pond is primarily spring-fed. Unlike many of the other lakes and ponds in the city, Bell Pond is located in the combined sewer system section, meaning that storm drains in this area send rainfall to the sewage treatment plant and not to the lakes and ponds. In an urban environment, this has positive implications on water quality. The pond has always been known to have high water quality. In fact, it was used as a drinking water supply for the city back in the 1800s. These days, the Lakes and Ponds program samples it twice monthly to ensure that water quality stays high. This is in addition to the sampling that the Department of Public Health conducts at the beach. These are the data that we will be reviewing today. Let's begin with what the Department of Public Health found. At Bell Pond Beach, every week, they measured E. coli, an indicator of fecal bacteria that can make you sick. If there are too many bacteria, they have to close the beach until it subsides. Bacteria are generally not a problem at Bell Pond Beach, and in the past 3 years, there have been no beach closures, and the E. coli results have always been very low. 2020 saw a continuation of this pattern, and there were no closures. There was only one day in late June with a higher than normal count after a heavy rain event, but the results the following day confirmed that it was a fluke event. Bacteria levels taken in the center of the lake reflect this pattern and confirm that bacteria is not a challenge at Bell Pond. Clarity is how clear the water is of algae and sediment that can be harmful to fish and wildlife. Clear waters are not just more attractive, but they are also generally healthier. Bell Pond has always been known for its high level of water clarity. This pattern continued in 2020. At no point between May and October did you see less than 13.5 feet underwater. This gives us a rating of good to excellent, according to the Department of Environmental Protection for water quality. In fact, 2020 was on average the clearest year at Bell Pond since sampling began in 2017. Clarity, therefore, continues to not be a challenge at Bell Pond. Much of this clarity is due to Bell Pond's low levels of organic matter in the water column, including algae and cyanobacteria. These organisms don't just cloud the water, they can cause fish kills and produce toxins harmful to human health. Bell Pond has not been considered high risk for harmful algal blooms, and in the 4 years that we have been monitoring it, there was only one reported bloom in 2019, which was isolated to the shoreline and lasted less than 24 hours. We expect that this was probably due to goose activity. While monitoring continues, Bell Pond is not at high risk for cyanobacteria or algal blooms. One of the reasons that we know this is because harmful algae and cyanobacteria generally thrive in nutrient-rich environments. We measure phosphorus and other nutrients to determine how at risk our waterways are for these blooms. On more than half of the sampling events, we were not even able to detect phosphorus on the surface of the lake. On the other days, the result was very low, except for one event that we think might have been a sampling error. The same could be said for the other nutrients we tested for, leaving us to conclude that nutrients are not a challenge at Indian Lake. We suspect that this goes back to the fact that there is no significant source of stormwater into the lake and that the lake is fed by naturally filtered groundwater. However, in 2020, we unfortunately found evidence of an invasive species in Bell Pond. Invasive species are organisms that are not native to the area and have the ability to outcompete local flora and fauna, disrupting the ecosystem. Corbicula fluminea is known to be an aggressive invasive mollusk, and it was found this year around the edges of the pond. Previously, it was only found at Lake Quinsigamon. However, it is not known how long precisely it has been residing in Bell Pond. Mollusks are filter feeders, and high densities of them tend to make the waters clear. Thankfully, it does not appear to be impeding recreation, and local temperature variation may be keeping it in check, but we will continue to keep an eye on it. Apart from this and some terrestrial invasive knotweed that is being managed by the Parks Department, there are no invasive aquatic plants in the lake. Over the past years, the Lakes and Ponds program has cited litter and trash as being one of the major challenges at Bell Pond. Litter is harmful not only to the aesthetic, but to beachgoers and the environment. While we have been working on outreach materials to try and educate people on the issue, we have not yet been able to quantify the litter the way that we have with other water quality threats at Bell Pond. We are excited to say that this year we are working with a group of students at WPI to develop a tool to begin to measure changes over time in litter and identify programs that are effective to reducing this threat. While stormwater and nutrients are one thing, people often ask about the legacy of Worcester's industrial past and how mill factories are affecting our present-day water quality. So in 2019, on 2 separate occasions, we tested the water at Bell Pond for almost 200 contaminants that would be associated with industry, from volatile and semi-volatile organic compounds like paint and aerosols to heavy metals, petroleum products, and pesticides. We found for the majority of these tests, nothing was detected, which is great news. We did find slight traces of PFAS, or perfluoral aromatic compounds, which are found in waterproofing agents and firefighting foams. However, they did not appear in concentrations that would be of concern, even in drinking water. Of the metals that we found, they were all reflective of the natural metal concentrations that are found in our soils. We don't expect that these levels would have changed significantly in 2020, but we'll retest in 2022. For now, we do not believe that industrial contaminants are a problem at Bell Pond. In 2019, the Lakes and Pond program joined forces with the local watershed associations to create an angler survey to get an idea of, amongst other things, what people are catching in our waterways. As it turns out, Bell Pond supports some great fishing, probably due in part to its high water quality. It's stocked with trout annually in the spring, and survey results found that it's home to at least 14 fish species, including largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, and bluegill, in addition to the trout. So if you like fishing, you should check out Bell Pond. This all brings us to the state of the lake. We based this assessment on average ranking of different parameters using a scale of poor to excellent, with poor meaning that ecology and recreation is severely reduced and new management is necessary, and excellent meaning that there's no perceived threat to ecology or recreational value. Bell Pond is doing excellent in terms of fecal bacteria, having had no beach closures due to E. coli for 4 years straight. Clarity is very high, and there were no signs of cyanobacteria. It receives a rating of excellent. Given how vulnerable our local lakes and ponds are, however, we will have the Worcester Cyanobacteria Monitoring Collaborative return to Bell Pond in 2021 to keep an eye on things. Unfortunately, we did see a new invasive mollusk in the lake, though it is unclear how significant this will affect ecology and recreation. We will keep on monitoring the situation in 2021. There are no traces of contaminants in levels that would be harmful to humans or the environment, but we will retest in 2022 to make sure that this remains the case. But litter is a constant problem here, and we are working to better be able to quantify and remediate it. With all that said, the state of Bell Pond's water quality is excellent for another year. We will continue to monitor it to ensure that it remains that way and encourage all of you who maybe have not heard of it to check it out for yourself. Thank you so much for joining us for this summary of Bell Pond's water quality in 2020. If you're looking for more detailed information on what we found during the monitoring season, you can check out the Bell Pond Water Quality Report found on worcesterma.gov. Also, be sure to check out the other videos in this series to learn about the initiatives and water quality at the other lakes and ponds in Worcester and what we're doing to keep our blue spaces beautiful.